right, we have a great guest today who's here to talk about the goings-on at the Senior Centre, and we have the AccuWeather forecast for you coming up. But before we get to that, let's do some traveling.
Traveling with Dan is presented by South Country Co-op.
This week's travels start off back in Alberta. Yes, after a few weeks of traveling in the States, I'm back in Canada and back home in Alberta. It's an overcast day as we head to a place that is out of this world, or was meant to be. As a side note, I have to say I love tourist attractions that have all of the Canadian flags. Many of them do. Some of them are in better shape than others, but some of them do not. Extra points to a location that is known it's a Canadian roadside attraction, attracting people from all across Canada to stop and see it, and putting the whole nation on display. I just love all these flags. All right, we're almost in northern Alberta right now, about 5 hours directly north of Medicine Hat, about 2.5 hours northeast of Edmonton. The community was founded as a Métis colony in 1896 and called St. Paul des Métis until 1936, when it incorporated as the town of St. Paul. In 1967, a proposal was made to build the world's first UFO landing pad as a landmark for the town, and it was approved. So St. Paul, Alberta is home to the world's first UFO landing pad, built as a part of the 1967 Canadian Centennial celebrations in an effort to attract both tourists and Martians to the community. There it is, and it is spectacular. Here's the view from the top of the landing pad. Yes, I have landed. The Canadian flag you see on this sidewalk, the Canadian side, the Canadian emblem, was the logo for the 1967 Canadian Centennial celebrations, and that's why it's there. Now you see a few businesses off in the distance, but at the time this pad opened in 1967, there was nothing out in this part of town, just the pad in the middle of nowhere. Now the sign in front of the pad reads in part, "The area under the world's first UFO landing pad was designated international by the town of St. Paul as a symbol of our faith that mankind will maintain the outer universe free from national wars and strife. That future travel in space will be safe for all intergalactic beings. All visitors from Earth or otherwise are welcome to this territory and to the town of St. Paul." Another sign, this one built back in 1967, reads, "The pad is a centennial project." So all of the history is right there. Now, it was mentioned in George Fox's song, Real Canadian Town. The UFO landing pad was also visited, yes, by Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. That was during their 1978 tour of Canada, which also included stops at the Vegreville Egg and in other communities in eastern Alberta. But as hard as I looked on the internet, I can't find any pictures of the Queen at this landing pad. I'll keep looking for them, as I do believe. The pad has always been in the shape it is now, sort of smallish with a back on it, and on TripAdvisor, one former resident of St. Paul wrote, "I'm not sure if it's ever been used." Again, I believe it's been used. Sure, aliens probably land here all the time. They take a selfie, then they head back to wherever they came from. Now, in the 1990s, the mayor officially opened an adjacent UFO tourist information center to welcome visitors to St. Paul. It was built directly onto the pad and is now located beside the UFO landing pad. The Tourism Information Center is open summer hours from May until October annually and represents over 50 artisans from the St. Paul area. All in all, it's a place to get tourist information as well as a memento or a unique gift. Local pottery, jewelry, paintings, and sculptures are all for sale, and much of it's quite unique. The pad consists of a 30-ton platform raised with a map of Canada embossed on the backstop, consisting of stones provided by each province of Canada. And all of it, this entire place, is wheelchair accessible. The pad is actually the owner of a Guinness World Record. It's listed on their website as, quote, "the world's first official UFO landing pad." And don't worry, there's plenty of places to park, whether you drive a car or an interdimensional aircraft. St. Paul has got you covered. Every little community that builds something to attract tourists and people to come to visit them look to create something different. Well, for something a lot bit different, head to St. Paul to see the world's first UFO landing pad. Who knows where it might be when you stop by? Who knows who might be there? E.T., the Coneheads, the cast of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Almost anyone could be there posing for a selfie. The UFO landing pad is truly out of this world, and I choose to believe it's been used. The universe is a pretty big place. It's bigger than anything has ever dreamed of before. So if it is just us, it seems like an awful waste of space. From St. Paul to infinity and beyond. We'll be back on Earth next week, by the way, to another all-new destination.
Traveling with Dan is presented by South Country Co-op.